five armed men entering a school, one of several such incidents in such a short period. Isn't it about time we talk about permanent security at schools?
I'm not sure that that's the solution necessarily, Vuyo, because we've had incidents previously where there have been security people at schools, and things have still happened. Gangsters have continued fighting on school premises. I've had a look. I went to see the school ACJ Pukadi yesterday to see what happened, and there was CCTV footage of the incident. And looking at what actually happened, I'm not going to go into detail, but it's quite clear that if there had been people outside the school patrolling, for example, they would have seen the perpetrators hanging around outside the school. There are a lot of things that could prevent it, and I don't think that necessarily permanent security is the solution. Permanent security doesn't always either have guns. We don't want to turn our schools into a gun area either. If the learners are around and people start shooting, that poses a huge risk for us. And also the security people aren't necessarily always that well trained. So we are doing a pilot in some of our schools at the moment to see if it does make a difference, a substantial difference. But obviously it's going to cost a huge amount of money. Oh. And given the incredible financial constraints that we are under, it's very difficult for us to do that, because it involves a choice of, are we going to teach our learners, which is what our primary mandate is, or are we going to spend money on security? Because it's got to be one or the other.
Well, what then are the possible solutions, MEC, if permanent security isn't?
There are a lot of solutions that we're busy looking at, and it's also clear to me from the last few incidents in the last month that there are different scenarios for different schools. Sometimes it comes down to better management at a school, simply putting in a better access control system, for example. Sometimes we could put in better, sometimes the fences are broken and the schools don't fix them. And we pay money to schools for maintenance to be done by them, and some schools simply don't spend that money on maintenance and then complain to the department that we haven't fixed their fence. But we're working together with schools to try and respond better and quicker to smaller incidents like breaking fences, for example, if a gate motor doesn't work. Simple things like that make a difference. Then in some cases, they're inside people who know what's going on. We are working with SAPs as well to get to the bottom of issues. But we're looking at infrastructure improvements. We're also looking at better coordination between different control centres, for example, with the police and with the Metro Police in the city of Cape Town. It is a whole-of-society approach. Other approaches that have helped have been piloted by our Community Safety Department, and we're looking at expanding those. A lot of it involves working with communities. We've got what we call a walking bus program, where neighbourhood watchers can get volunteers to help walk children to and from school. And just the presence in the community, walking around the school, could be a deterrent to criminals. And we're looking at all those options.
Well, I mean, but would walking a child to school necessarily stop the gangster from doing whatever it is that they want to do, driven by their, evil intent?
No, it's not just one person. The walking bus involves a number of people walking together in a sort of literally like a bus. They come with vests and they walk in a group. So it's not just the fact that they're walking the children to school, it's also the fact that they're keeping an eye out around them. And this incident yesterday showed that people were there. There was a vehicle outside the school. Now, if people had been walking around the school, walking children to and from school in a group like that, somebody would have picked up, I think, that there were people there who were planning something.
Now, you recently met with General Brandt and Brigadier Tele of SAPS, who indicated that they were investigating the previous 4 armed robberies. Have you received any feedback from them?
I had feedback at that meeting. I haven't had subsequent feedback yet. They gave me an idea of what they were looking at. Obviously didn't want to go into too much detail with us, and I don't want to go into too much detail publicly either. But we did also ask if there's any way that we could even assist with getting information. We also spoke to the City of Cape Town and their Special Investigating Unit, which has just been resuscitated now. They also offered to let us use somebody from that unit to assist the police in investigation, because we do know that they lack manpower here. They've got a huge workload on their plate. Brigadier General Brunt assured me that he had a very good expert team on the matter and didn't want that assistance at this point. But Brigadier Cele did say that it may be of assistance in other similar cases. But I haven't had a recent update on those 4. I have also offered a reward of 10,000 Rand in respect of each of the 4 previous schools for anybody coming forward with information that leads to a conviction in those matters. Unfortunately, so far, we haven't had anything that I know of. I have asked our Safe Schools hotline.
Debbie Schaefer, thank you very much for talking to us this evening. She is the MEC for Education in the Western Cape.